Okay, so
Who do you want to introduce?
no, it's up to you.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm going with my boy Corpo.
Oh
Can't
man,
pronounce his name, but I'm going with him. You get the foreigner over there, REGA. Don't even know what that is, man.
random Epic Gaming Alliance, dude. Who
Oh,
doesn't
you know
know
what I
that?
forgot to say? It was
Hmm.
really funny, but I forgot to say it. In the second game, Spork actually leveled up, so he was only 30, like 8 levels down or something, or like 40 from 41.
Uh-huh.
I was about to say how he was going to go power max and then come back because he leveled up, but then I guess I lost him the game because I didn't say it. It's my bad.
True. Okay. So,
Okay, you go first.
okay, so in the bottom right, in the orange, we have our Protoss player from random Epic Gaming Alliance, essthrice.
Just had to be told biscuit last time. So spawning up in the top left or in the northwest corner, we have our Zerg player,
In
our
the
Zerg bear. I'll be day 9.
yeah, in the purple trunks, excuse you.
Purple pantalones.
Oh
Got some
man.
crazy sick decals on that creep action. It's really cool. And yeah, it's gonna be pretty standard. No 7 pool yet. No 10 pool. Oh, maybe. Oh no, he's up to 12. He can't 10 pool anymore. Protoss actually not getting that early forge yet. Yeah, it looks like it. He might get a little bit of a later forge. Um, Spork was sending out the probe at 11 to get a very early 12 forge before the second chrono, and it looks like Esthrice is going to be getting the second chrono first. It makes me think either he's going to get a late forge at like 14 or 15 to get more probes, or maybe he's just going to go Nexus first. But we'll see what he does.
Could this be a gateway expansion?
It's kind of tough putting it at the bottom. To be honest, it's not that bad, but like you do just like kind of die if they go 7 pool or like speedling stuff. Just because when you go gateway first against 7 pool, you want to be close to your mineral line so the zealots and probes can work together. But the lings can basically run you in circles when you have it that far down. So
Okay.
he will be getting that late forge, and he's even blocking the natural with a probe. Very nice. Overlord is seeing the crap out of that probe.
Oh man. It can just it sees it. Actually, it's turned around, so its eyes aren't even looking.
Well, I saw it like flicking its tentacles at it, so it acknowledges its presence.
Oh, it's like talk to the tentacle because the face don't want to hear it.
Exactly. Yep, Nexus, this time before the gateway, I think this one's a little bit better. And then he's probably going to get a cannon, then followed up with a gateway and pylon next. And I like this one a lot better. It lets you get out a few more probes. It does delay your tech a little bit, but I feel like after going Forge first, you're kind of denying the ability to pressure that Zerg third as much instead of going the gateway expand, so you might as well ride out your advantage.
Right. And make sure that you have that nice mid-game advantage that
Lings.
Protoss loves.
Lings coming out across the map. He actually got 6 lings before the hatchery because he knew that the probe was going to block it. It's a very interesting decision. I think the probe, this is interesting, the probe actually saw gas in the main, if I'm correct. No, wait, no, he didn't. I lied. He just waited a little bit to get the gas. Maybe he didn't want the probe to see him getting gas. But definitely some mind games going on. He's going to run around that cannon, only lose 1 ling. Very good job there. He could have actually lost none, but still good micro to only lose 1 ling. And he's just going to run straight up into the main. And
Oh
he
man.
should get at least like maybe worth these lings and mining time lost if he plays this correctly.
Right. And very interesting to see. 1, 2, 3, 4 probes will be killed.
Yeah.
So absolutely worth 6 lings to have all that mining time lost, and oh, excuse me, 5 workers killed, including that one from
That-
his natural.
yes.
So
Um,
very worthwhile lings.
it's worth the wait, yes, but these 4 lings, ooh, that's not good. He's going to lose 1 more ling. I'd still say it's worth it for the Zerg player because it's also going to allow him to get a little bit earlier third than he normally would. Not like earlier, but earlier supply wise.
Right.
That's going to set him up to have a really nice creep spread at that third if the Protoss does a timing, because the creep is going to spread a lot farther out. He might even get a creep tumor just to spread it all the way up, and it's going to be very hard for the Protoss to pressure that third if the Zerg stays on creep and plays it effectively. Now the Protoss has the advantage where he's going to have a lot more workers because the Zerg sacked a lot of his drones to make lings and slower down Benjax. He's actually up 8 workers right now, but that's going to be a temporary advantage. He's going to have to turn that into either a timing or a quick third.
Interesting decision from Hippie to take a 550 layer.
Wow.
So that's incredibly early. So he should be looking for a really strong early Roach Hydra timing off that.
Yeah, and he's getting a second gas really early too. Maybe we might, we might even see Mutas here. But the fact that he isn't mining that gas, like if he was Mutas, he'd be all over the gas right now.
Nope. I figured it out. You know what it is?
But
It's Nidus.
oh, very that
Look
could
at
be
the Overlord. The Overlord in the bottom right is flying so that he'll have just enough vision of the really, really weird part of the main.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That this pylon won't have vision, especially of that corner right here.
Yep.
So this could be.
However, that smells to me like a tech pylon that's like perfectly positioned in the base. Well, not perfectly, but it's the position in the base where he's gonna like put down all of his tech and he might see it. But oh, this is really smart. I think Hippie is Overlord scouting so that the Protoss suspects this Overlord even less. And it tells me that something sneaky is going on here. It might be like Nidus, it might not, but something sneaky. Oh, wow, Spire. Ha, screw you. I was right.
Hippie has taken the other two gases at his natural.
Very true.
So he'll be going heavy into gas.
Oh my god, he's so low on workers though. It's 21 to 42.
You know, I think that's mostly out of just not having the mineral income, to be honest. He's banking so much gas to get those mutalisks out quickly.
And this is going to be super risky. Like, I think a lot of this might be that, like, last Protoss Spork, maybe it's just like, or maybe, did these guys play?
I don't believe these two have played each other, no.
I don't know, like, and they're from different clans, they probably haven't practiced. These two Overlords stacking outside the net main to the top, that's not very good. But, maybe, against the last play, his opponent didn't prepare very well for mutas. He kind of just went, like, straight Zealot Immortal in the beginning. Ooh, Dark Shrine. We'll get to that later, though. It's probably going to be maybe DT drops, or just, like, some DT play. And, but yeah, he didn't get a lot of, like, mutalist defense. He never really went for storms. He played very Zealot heavy. And this might be just a way of getting crazy early mutas. Like, these are going to be out, like, if he plays this right, these will be at the base at like 10 minutes. But he's banking so much more gas and minerals. Like, once again, I just feel like it isn't refined enough. Like, he's not going to be able to get as many mutas. He's going to be so low on drones. He's got to really do damage with these mutas. Still only like one stalker out, 2 sentries. So he could do something. This is so early.
Okay, so not even. Oh, so he does have 5 mutas in production already. So this will be a heavy muta hit right here.
Mm-hmm.
If he can get these all clumped up, he could kill the stalkers and be in, frankly, excellent position. Snipe out the tech. He'll definitely see the Dark Shrine in time to warp in some Overseers. So he'll be in a very good spot.
But the thing is, even if he sees the Dark Shrine and gets Overseers, what's he going to kill it with? Like, he has to drone now to catch up on the worker disparity. If he doesn't, he's just going to fall so far behind. If you look at the income tab, his income is effectively half. And even on 3 bases. And if the Protoss just like sends 1 DT to each base, he can't really split up the mutas to deal with the DTs. I just don't think he can even deal with it. And he's flying right over. The Protoss is going to see it immediately. He's actually going to lose a mutalisk. Not so good here.
Will he lose 2? He will not. He will, though, see the Immortal Sentry Stalker push. More Stalkers having been warped in, making those mutas even less useful. More mutas in production, so we'll have 8 mutas. We'll have 11 mutas on the field once all of these have been produced. But like you said, there's no economy for the Zerg player.
Yep.
He's on very low drones.
I mean, this is kind of a problem with going mutalist straight in ZVP. You can go mutas after like going roachling already and getting a stable economy. But like the thing is, you have to do so much damage, and the Protoss can just play defensive behind their stuff, knowing that you can't make the mutas and make drones because you have so few minerals. Actually, there's a muta sitting outside the third just by himself. He's a little lonely. He's got an Overlord to talk to though. But when you go roach lane, kill an army, and reinforce with mutas, it's really good because you have a superior economy and you can stop the Protoss economy from expanding. So that's really what mutas do. Like, at the end of the day, if the Protoss is playing well, they're not going to kill any probes. They're not going to pick off really anything, but they're going to force the Protoss to spend all their money on tech and like extra units and not get up extra bases. If he built a lot of lings here, he would still lose out on the drone count, but he would snipe this third. And that's what I'm talking about limiting the economy. But, ooh, yeah, he will get a pylon here, which is pretty nice, but he better get out.
Yeah, definitely do not want to lose those mutalisks, although, of course, with that new regeneration for Heart of the Swarm, they are more effective at this little harass-style business. So Hippie's starting to drone up a little bit, making 5 drones along with 4 more mutalisks, and his +1 attack for his mutas. So he's really investing into these. Um, he'll have no ground army other than these 10 lings, and there's, to be frank, a scary force from the Protoss. Those the Dark Shrine for 4 early Archons.
Yeah.
So this is, those Archons will just eat the Mutalisks.
Fun thing though, the Protoss actually stopped making a lot of workers too because he was so scared. It allowed the Zerg to catch up in the worker count, but as you can see, he's 16 supply down when the Protoss is effectively going like Archon Immortal. So that's really going to hurt him for the time being, but if he can, ooh, nice micro, not even losing a Muta there to the cannon, they're going to regen right back up. And one Muta actually hiding out in the corner, he's too afraid. Oh no! No! Oh, he still saved it. That's
nope.
Pretty...
Oh man, if the Stalker's micro correctly, he did lose it.
Wow, he did lose it. I'm disappointed. But he's going to run right back over Lings actually at the third. And this is what I'm talking about. It's more of like, I feel like this is more so like recognizing these players are not Grandmaster. There is room for mistakes. And he's actually just going to like make his make his opponent just fall so off balance that he's not going to be able to catch himself. And he's just going to fly right out of here. Those Lings are basically useless. And he's just doing so much like indirect damage. Like the Protoss just feels so out of place here.
Very true. The mind games are too strong.
I'm sorry, that one Muta just flew from the back of the base, like right through. Like, peace out, guys. It's fine.
So there are 24 Mutalisks out, 25 Mutalisks, excuse me. Oh man, that production tab wasn't up. So there are 25 Mutalisks, and there is an Overseer, of course, as he has seen the Dark Shrine. A few Lings coming out, more drones. I think he's just going to hope that the Protoss kind of sits there and lets him get some economy up. That third being very vulnerable for the Protoss.
I feel like now the Zerg actually has a really big advantage. I feel like he was in a bad spot before because he had to kind of hope and pray that the Protoss like didn't grow a pair and move out on him. But once he's gotten out like this, like it's pretty amazing because he's actually in a great position right now. Like the Protoss has no blink. He spent all of his DT, like the DT into Archons, like really smart. But now he has to just move around and play the Zerg's game, and the Zerg's just never going to engage those Archons. And now he has no money for Storms, no money for Blink.
Yeah. And
yeah,
the tech being sniped out too in the back of essthrice's base.
Yeah, the Zergling's going to the third, and the Zerg has a fourth up. He's transitioned. It looked a little bit sketchy, and I will admit I didn't like it at first, but the way it's turned out, it's sort of that thing with Mutas. It's almost impossible to open with them in ZVP, but once you get your foothold in the game, it's very hard to knock the Zerg off of Mutas and get back into the game. You have to do a lot of damage.
Very true. There are enough Archons and enough Stalkers, of course, that if he can get a favorable engagement, it will not only be a favorable engagement, it will probably be the last engagement.
Yeah.
But I mean, Hippie's just going to snipe tech. He's just going to run back and forth. The Protoss player kind of unsure of himself, like you said, you know, the mind games.
Oh, man. Main's dead.
And he's walled himself out of the main.
Wow.
He can't even move his army back in there. So all of the main is forfeit. He has to move out. Yep. Honestly, Hippie could just go for a base race here.
Yeah, and what's the number one rule against Mutas? You never want to base race Mutas. Never, because the Zerg can just make a base, plop down like 80 spines with their extra minerals, and they still have all the Mutas, and they're just never going to lose them because of that regen. However, there are a lot of Mutas back here, and if the Zerg isn't paying attention, he could lose all those. He needs to run those away. Oh, there we go. Yeah, perfect. And the real deal of this game was, I thought the Archon switch was amazing at the first, but you just kind of kept making them. Once you get past the second or third Archon, there's really no point because the Zerg's never going to engage that when you have Archons. And so now the Zerg is just going to make, oh wow, that Bunchling is pretty bad for him. But he's just going to do as much damage as he can back here. The Mutas are getting a little bit thinned out. He needs to micro those a little bit better, but it's still looking pretty good for him. And those Protoss, I don't think... He does know about the fourth. Okay. So, yeah, why don't you solo cast this for a second? I have to be right back in like 3 seconds. Gotta answer this. But it's actually pretty good for the Zerg player here, as long as he keeps his composure and holds up.
Right, and the Protoss player will be looking to go across and move his probes out, potentially take a base, but HyppiCorpo's already taken that base. So, honestly, he's in a situation where it could be hard for him to lose if he just lets those Mutas keep doing their thing, micros them a little bit better so that they focus on the buildings a little more. He's got a few more units, he can start doing some other damage. More Mutas are out and over. He could just spine up these other bases. He's trying to remake the Spire, which is a little bit of a sketchy choice.
Mhm.
But honestly, he's in a really good spot. He should just kind of pick a base, kill everything at it, and then just move on and work through the bases one by one.
So interesting little tidbit here, like a little bit of a flub by both players. Neither of them had really made an effort to like move workers around the map. The
Uh,
Protoss has got like all of his workers like with the Protoss army. He should be like he has 2.5k minerals. He can just build nexuses everywhere. Like
Night, Joe.
night, super professional. Grandparents, what are you gonna do? But it's gonna be really tough for him. Like the Zerg has actually dug himself into a deep hole because he's actually just gonna run out of workers here. He didn't react fast enough, and now the mutas are just gonna tear through everything.
yeah, yeah, this is very true. The Muta's not very good at killing a lot of different things. The Muta's, he's pulled them back. He will never be able to engage this army. Those need to be as far forward as possible. He needs to accept the fact that this is a base race and just kill the base.
Yeah.
He could send all of these other workers that he has and make just random bases, make them all over the map. He's kind of not accepting the base race, and to be honest, that's just going to kill him.
Yeah. Like he didn't spread out workers, so he's only got 3 workers on the map. I'm actually interested where this one other drone is. Oh, sick hash replacement over there. They're never gonna find that. And the Zerg, it's one of those points where I felt like he just overthinked it. He had this really cool idea where he'd put the mutas in the back of the Protoss base and like snipe off workers. But the fact is that the other mutas aren't doing anything else, so they should just be there and kill the cannons, you know?
Yeah. More workers. There's another worker going out on the map to make another randomly located hatchery that the Protoss player will never find.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
So he's just gonna. Oh man, that worker went the wrong way. These mutas not really doing enough damage. The Protoss player just needs to find everything.
Yeah.
Man, he
It's
could
just
be,
like
he could be doing so much more.
this is like not this isn't the best way of buying time. What I would have loved, so I would have loved a Zerg player, even if the Protoss has vision, to just like, can you see that ping? Just like build a base right up there, and like in the Protoss main, and just like spine up the ramp, because the Protoss with Archons, they're so clunky. He's never gonna get up that ramp. He even has like Zealots and Stalkers and Immortals, all these thick units. He's never gonna get up that. If he had like 10 spines at the top of that ramp, Protoss isn't going anywhere. He's not going up that ramp. He can have the rest of the game. He's never getting up that ramp. But he's just spreading. Oh man, and the Overlords are actually going to get caught out. This is really bad.
Not as bad as it might seem though. He just needs to make a couple drones really quick so that he can continue to make hatcheries.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just occupying the Protoss army isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
He has not made any more drones, so these are the last 2 hatcheries that we'll see, but he's in a position where he could just go end the game as soon as he does it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's worried about engaging into the cannons, but it's 2 cannons to, let us see, about 20 mutalisks, and some lings, a little smattering of lings. So he needs to just kind of ball up and do it. So the Protoss will find his one base. The Protoss player has remade a base finally.
Yeah.
So he's in a little bit better position, but the mutas will fly fast enough. I'll be interested to see if he just decides to defend that one base and just split his army, which he could do.
Yeah, I mean, both players are in interesting positions. The Zerg needs to remake Overlords right now because he's actually supply blocked. He needs to be, like, literally his entire attention should be like, the mutas just don't, excuse me, need to hit the Protoss ball, and he just needs to keep running drones around and making hatcheries because eventually he'll still win this game. Like, the mutas are disguised as, like, this weak unit, but they're extremely powerful when they never actually have to get hit by anything. And he's actually, he's going to see one of those bases. He's actually, is he going to see both? Yes.
He will. The lings will see it.
Yes. Oh, nope, he canceled the queue. He's only going to get one. And the Protoss, he's got to keep running, man. Like,
Yeah.
this is actually looking really bad for him. It's one of those things where he's like, like overthinking it. He's thinking like, I don't need to make a nexus until the last building just barely dies. But like, he might actually lose here if he doesn't make another building. And yeah, that's game. Wow.
Oh, man.
That sucks.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
it's one of those things where like, we did talk about it's easy to point out a player's flaws, but both of them played very well in that game. They did a good job keeping composed and not just freaking out and leaving everything there. They made some mistakes, but the Muta play was very good. A lot of players sometimes look away, and Mutas are those units where they like feel the need to surge